Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to my Waffle Square, where I obsess about things and you get to benefit from it. So in episode 7 of our ongoing series where we are refurbishing this 2006 Land Rover LR3 with the V8 petrol engine, we are going to be flushing the heater core. So in our previous episode, we were driving the vehicle and resetting the transmission adaptations after having done a complete transmission service on the 6HP26 transmission. This has a couple episodes prior to that. And while driving, I noticed that the heat coming out of the passenger side of the dashboard was great, but there was no discernible heat coming out of the driver's side. Let's take it for a drive. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, we are at highway speeds and we are up to normal operating temperature with the engine. I just want to take a base reading of what we're looking like with both these vents with everything turned off. I haven't had the system on at all. And we're at 73 degrees, actually 66 degrees on that one, 75 degrees on that one, all right? So, the outside ambient temperature is 46 degrees. Oof. So let's turn this guy on. I'm gonna hit auto. I've got both dials turned up to full blast. I'm gonna hit the button for it just coming out of these vents here. Let's give it a little while to get going. I don't have it on recirculate. I have it on coming straight from outside. All right, it's been about a minute. Let's get a reading. Here's the driver's side. That is 62 degrees. And the passenger side is 119 degrees. So we have half the temperature, right? It's like a 60 degree almost temperature difference. Let's look on the outside one on the driver's side. That one's at 77. And then the one way over on the passenger side is 80 degrees. So the most dramatic difference is right here. Now this one is blowing right on my hands. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this off because this reminds me of the old Bullet Boys song, I send shivers smooth up in ya. Yow! So I did some searching around on the forums and here's what I found out. Dakota Traveler writes, yep, I've read about this and it's a known issue. It's often, I think, misdiagnosed as a blend door issue, but if you search on the net for Discovery 3 clogged heater cores, you will find many results. Range Rover Sport also, same design. The consensus seems to be they just don't flow fast enough to get the sediment back up and out of the outlet pipe. The inlet outlet are top and bottom. So there is a bit of circular flow pattern which causes the sediment to end up more on the lower side than the other, which happens to basically be the bottom part of the driver's side. The solution? Flush the core both ways. So the solution seems to be to flush the heater core. Now, if you take a look at this picture I found online, it is quite the circuitous route that that aluminum piping takes to go all the way down to the heater core and then all the way back up. So I could certainly see some sediment being down there. And if you remember from episode 2 where we changed the water pump because we had a coolant leak in the front of the engine, I found all sorts of kind of gray material around the water pump area as if someone had put stop leak in the coolant system once upon a time. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we find that kind of sediment in our heater core. So first thing we need to do, pop the hood, turn on the fan, and cool this engine off while I do some other chores, and then we'll get right to it. Now, before we get started, as always, I'm not a mechanic. I just dress like one on YouTube. I'm just showing you what I'm doing and letting you come along for the ride to see the results of all my work. All right, the engine is more than cool enough to work on now. I've got a couple different camera angles set up, and if you come straight back here all the way to the back of the firewall, 4 feet in from the grill, you'll see these 2 hoses that connect to the heater core. Now, do you see these green tabs on them? There's one on either side, and they are a push and release kind of quick connect. Now, in an ideal situation, we would be doing this procedure at the same time as a full coolant flush. But in episode 2, when we found the leak in the water pump, we changed out that water pump and replaced and flushed all the coolant. So I don't want to waste that. So I went online and I found these little hose clamps. You bring them in, clamp them down on the hose, and then this little piece here will lock it in place. And we're going to put those as close as we can on both of these hoses to try to keep all of our fresh, clean coolant from spilling out. So let's go in here and try this one first. Pinch it off and clamp it tight. There we go. Now this one is a different story. It has a very short gap right between 2 pieces of plastic, and I don't think I can clamp that down. So I'm going to go beyond this T, and I'm going to clamp the upper hose, and I'm just hoping that gravity will take care of this lower hose. If some spills out of there, however, I have a plastic pan down below. All right, with that done, let's reach in here. Let's see if we can pinch this quick release and pull it off. Oh man, there's one. Goodness, that was an incredible pain. Let's see if I can get my hand in for the other one. Oh, bugger. There. Whew. All right. Man, that's quite a lip you have to overcome right there. So if you've done any research like I have about flushing heater cores, every video I ever watched said that the inlet and outlet are 5/8 tubing. Well, on the Land Rover, it's not. It's 3/4. So nonetheless, I have 2 hoses, clear plastic of 3/4 inch. And as you see here, I have them cinched down with hose clamps at the heater core. This little pad is just a visual aid that will help us differentiate between what's going to first be the clean water and hopefully very dirty water coming out of them. As we come down from the engine with the hoses, you'll see I have 2 buckets. This white one over here is empty. We're going to be able to see what's coming out. That is the flush bucket. This one here is just regular water. Now, you could just use a hose, a garden hose, but keep in mind your average household PSI is about 40%. We are on a well, so we are between 40 and 60 PSI. And this system, as you see in this picture, is really only meant for 16 PSI. So instead, I'm going to use my cordless pump. This guy has a maximum output of 25 PSI. I use it for descaling my tankless water heater. It's always worked great. It's not going to put out too much pressure. So without further ado, let's turn it on. Oop, there's a big glob of something. Well, the first 5 gallons has gone through in one direction. I can't wait to see what's on the bottom of this gray murky water. But if you look here, I see all kinds of little floating bits of blue silicone. Let's see what's on the bottom. All right, just like I had hoped, there is a bunch of gray matter down there. Let's get a handful. Oh, it's very gritty, sandy kind of stuff. And I guess that could be stop leak. It's also obviously, to my touch, like calcium lime deposits. So we're having a good effect. All right, that was pretty good. So now I have switched the hoses. So we are going to be going in the opposite direction this time. All right, much less in the bottom of the bucket this time, but still a good amount of what looks like calcium deposits, debris. Let's do one more in the opposite direction. So on the third flush, we're still getting quite a bit of debris. And look at that piece. Look how big that is. So I think I'm gonna run some Prestone radiator flush through there and let it soak for 10 minutes. Our water is very hard here in Las Vegas, so there's really no point in putting the Prestone coolant system flush in with regular tap water. It'll just go to work on the tap water. So instead, I'm gonna put distilled water in. I'm just gonna run just enough of this through to evacuate out all the regular tap water and then let it sit for 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes of letting that bubbly goodness there do its job, I'm gonna flush the system with just plain distilled water, and then I'm gonna put in this pink coolant for European vehicles. It says right there it's for Land Rover. Button everything back up and let's go see if we made a difference. Well, I was excited to take it out for a drive and see if we'd fix the issue, but when I was trying to pop this hose back onto the heater core tubes, this plastic piece right here broke. Oh no, what was that? Oh no. And as you can see in this close-up, it is really brittle. And I think it's probably brittle throughout the system. So I went on to Atlantic British website, roverparts.com, and I ordered an entire 2-hose system for the what they call climate control. Now, I know I should do the whole system. They sell that kit, but it's over $500. I really just want to get these 2 hoses replaced and see about some of the other things we have going on. So this is going to have to be part 1 of flushing the coolant system and seeing if we fix the problem in part 2 after we replace those hoses. So in the meantime, while that's coming, it does give us an opportunity to work on something that's really been bugging me. So when you look at the whole engine and you see how pretty it looks, something really stands out to me, and it's this pedestal that the vacuum system motor sits on. It's just unpainted, it's rusty looking and nasty. Does that bother anyone else but me? Let's go ahead and do a video on removing it, sanding it down, prepping it, and then painting it and putting it back in so it's not such an eyesore. Now, let's go over some comments from the last video. Expedition Rove wrote, "Watched all your videos yesterday. You're doing an awesome job." Very kind of you, thank you very much. I work really hard on them. Now, Mr. 16 Valve was quite a bit more brutally honest. That's a ridiculous adaptation. I'm sure that's not the process that the LR techs use prior to returning a customer's car. Sadly, you're probably right. We'll finish it up with Just a Regular Guy. Clear and methodical. Anyone who is looking to properly relearn their transmission should definitely watch this video. Just a Regular Guy, you sound just like me. Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone who has liked, subscribed, and also commented on the videos. since the last time I gave that request. Now, I'm gonna leave links for the items that I used in this video. Full disclosure, those will be Amazon affiliate links, so if you click on them and end up making a purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify all the time it takes to set up all these camera angles and make these videos. Until next time, thank you for watching.